The morning sun rose over Paris Island as Drill Sergeant Lee Tae-ho stood with perfect posture. He watched the new group of young men and women step off the bus. They looked scared and confused, just like all new recruits. But among them walked someone very different. Tae-ho blinked twice. He could not believe his eyes. Standing 7 feet tall with bright blue skin was an alien. The creature had 4 eyes, 2 large ones in the normal position and 2 smaller ones above them. Its body looked strong, with muscles that seemed to flow like water under its skin. The alien moved with perfect control, each step precise. "Line up, recruits!" Tae-ho shouted. The human recruits scrambled to form a straight line. The alien moved smoothly into position, standing at perfect attention. Its 4 eyes looked straight ahead. Tae-ho walked slowly down the line, stopping in front of each new recruit. He shouted in their faces. He pointed out problems with their clothes or posture. This was normal. This was how Marines began. Break them down to build them up. When he reached the alien, Tae-ho looked up at the tall blue figure. "And what do we have here?" he asked in a voice that could cut steel. "Kwon Do-hyun reporting for training, Drill Sergeant," the alien replied. His voice was deep but smooth, almost like music. Tae-ho circled the alien recruit. "You do not look like any Kwon I have ever seen." "I have chosen an Earth name to help with integration, Drill Sergeant," the alien explained. "My true name would be difficult for humans to pronounce." Tae-ho stood directly in front of the alien again. The other recruits were stealing glances, clearly shocked by their unusual fellow trainee. "So why is an alien trying to join my Marine Corps?" Tae-ho demanded. The alien remained perfectly still. "I am not joining, Drill Sergeant. I am here to complete the training only. I am the combat champion of the Novan species. Our council has sent me to Earth as part of our peace agreement. They believe experiencing your training will help us understand humans better." Tae-ho's eyes narrowed. "You expect me to believe the aliens sent their best warrior to do push-ups in the mud with these soft civilians?" "Affirmative, Drill Sergeant. The diplomatic papers were approved last week by your Secretary of Defense." Tae-ho remembered now. The base commander had mentioned something about a special recruit joining this group. He had assumed it was the son of some politician or famous person, not an actual alien. "And why would the mighty aliens care about our training methods?" Tae-ho asked. Do-hyun's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Because humans scare us, Drill Sergeant." This answer surprised Tae-ho. He had expected something about friendship or learning or diplomatic relations. "Explain," he ordered. "My species has superior strength, speed, and technology," Do-hyun said. "But humans have something we do not understand. You continue fighting when logic says you should surrender. You survive conditions that should kill you. You form bonds in hardship that cannot be broken. The Novan Council wishes to understand this quality." For a moment, Tae-ho said nothing. Then he stepped even closer to the alien. "So they sent you to find our weakness," he said quietly. "Negative, Drill Sergeant. They sent me to find our own weakness." The answer was unexpected. Tae-ho studied the alien's face, looking for signs of lying. But the blue features showed only calm attention. "Well, Recruit Do-hyun," Tae-ho finally said, raising his voice so all could hear. "I don't care if you are the strongest warrior in the whole galaxy. Here you are nothing, less than nothing. You are an empty uniform that I will fill with the spirit of a Marine. If you survive." "I will not disappoint, Drill Sergeant," Do-hyun replied. Tae-ho turned to address the whole group. "Welcome to the United States Marine Corps recruit training. You are no longer civilians, you are not yet Marines. You are recruits. For the next 13 weeks you will be tested in ways you cannot imagine. Many of you will fail. Those who remain will earn the title of Marine." As Tae-ho continued his speech, the human recruits looked terrified. Do-hyun remained perfectly still, all 4 eyes focused forward. Later that day, after the recruits had been assigned to their barracks, given their uniforms, and had their heads shaved, Tae-ho met with the other drill instructors. "So they really sent an alien," said drill instructor Park Ji-won, shaking his head. "I thought it was a joke." "The commander says we treat him exactly like any other recruit," Tae-ho explained. "No special treatment." Can his body even handle our training? Asked drill instructor Choi Hun-sung. What if he dies here? That would cause an interplanetary incident. Taeho shrugged. The brass says his species is physically compatible with our training. Stronger and faster than humans, but with similar limitations on endurance. Where did they put him? Ji-won asked. Platoon 4017. His squad leader is recruit Kim Jun-woo. Han-sung laughed. Jun-woo? That skinny kid from Seoul? He looked ready to faint during the first inspection. Which is exactly why he needs to lead an alien, Taeho said. Either he will rise to the challenge or he will break. That is Marine training. In the barracks, Jun-woo was trying to maintain order. The other recruits could not stop staring at Do-hyun. How many hearts do you have? Asked one recruit. Do you eat human food? Asked another. Can your eyes see in the dark? Do-hyun sat on his assigned bed, which looked too small for his tall frame. I have one heart. I can eat most human foods. My vision works in low light, but not complete darkness. Jun-woo clapped his hands. Enough questions. We need to be ready for inspection in 10 minutes. The recruits turned to look at him. Jun-woo was not tall or strong-looking. His voice shook slightly when he spoke, but he had been named squad leader, and they had to listen to him. Recruit Do-hyun, Jun-woo said, trying to sound confident. You need to make your bed according to these exact measurements. He handed the alien a sheet of paper with diagrams. Do-hyun studied the paper. Thank you, squad leader. He began making his bed with precise movements. Jun-woo watched, surprised by the alien's perfect work. Have you done this before? Negative. But I can replicate any physical task after seeing it once. The other recruits exchanged glances. Some looked impressed. Others looked worried. As lights out approached, Drill Sergeant Taeho made a final walk through the barracks. He stopped at Do-hyun's bed. Recruit Do-hyun, he said in a low voice. I have one question. Yes, Drill Sergeant? If you are truly the strongest warrior of your kind, why follow our orders? Why allow humans to shout at you and tell you what to do? Do-hyun's 4 eyes focused on Taeho. Because true strength is not about physical power, Drill Sergeant. It is about understanding. My people have forgotten how to struggle. We have forgotten how to grow through hardship. That is why humans will soon surpass us unless we remember. Taeho nodded slowly. We shall see, recruit, we shall see. As he walked away, Taeho felt something he rarely experienced with new recruits. Curiosity. This alien might actually teach them something, even as they tried to teach him. Outside, the barracks, the stars shone brightly in the night sky. Somewhere up there was Do-hyun's homeworld. For the next 13 weeks, however, his world would be right here, in the mud, sweat, and discipline of Marine training. The greatest test of the galaxy's strongest warrior had just begun. The loud sound of a metal trash can hitting the floor woke everyone in the barracks. It was 4:30 in the morning. Drill instructor Park Ji-won stood in the doorway. Get up, get up, get up, he shouted. You have 30 seconds to be dressed and outside. The human recruits jumped from their beds, moving quickly but clumsily in the dim light. Some bumped into each other, others struggled with their clothes. But Do-hyun was not in his bed. Ji-won looked around the room. Then he looked up. The alien was hanging from the ceiling, his body perfectly still. Do-hyun, what in the world are you doing up there? Ji-won shouted. The alien's 4 eyes opened at once. He dropped to the floor without making a sound. Responding, drill instructor, I am performing my species rest cycle. We require only 2 hours of suspension per day. Ji-won walked up to the tall blue alien. In this barracks, you sleep in a bed like everyone else. You are not special. You are not different. You are a recruit. Yes, drill instructor, Do-hyun replied loudly. Now get outside with the others. Move, move, move. Do-hyun joined the other recruits outside. They stood in straight lines in the cold morning air. Some were still fixing their clothes. Others looked half asleep. Only Do-hyun stood perfectly ready. Today we start real training, Drill Sergeant, Lee Taeho announced as he walked in front of the group. By the end of today, some of you will wish you had never come here. The first challenge was a 5-mile run. The human recruits struggled to keep pace. Their breathing became heavy. Sweat soaked their clothes, but Do-hyun ran easily, his movements smooth and controlled. Jun-woo, the skinny squad leader, was falling, behind. His face was red, his legs were shaking. "Squad leader Kim is failing," Do-hyun said to drill instructor Choi Han-sung, who was running alongside the group. "That is not your concern, recruit," Han-sung replied. "But if he fails, the squad fails. This is what you taught us." Han-sung frowned. He must overcome this himself. That is how humans become stronger. Do-hyun seemed confused. "Inefficient. On my world, the strong help the weak become strong. This is not your world," Han-sung snapped. "Keep running and be quiet." After the run came obstacle training. The recruits had to climb walls, crawl under wire, and swing across mud pits. Most of the humans struggled. Some failed completely. But Do-hyun completed each obstacle perfectly the first time. Jun-woo was having the worst day. During the wall climb, he fell twice. During the rope swing, he dropped into the mud. The other recruits began to laugh at him. Some squad leader, one recruit whispered, "He should quit now," said another. Do-hyun heard these comments with his sensitive ears. He watched as Jun-woo tried the wall climb for the third time. The small human was clearly exhausted. His arms shook as he tried to pull himself up. Just as Jun-woo was about to fall again, Do-hyun moved. He crossed the training area in 3 long steps and caught Jun-woo before he hit the ground. "Put him down immediately," Drill Sergeant Tae-ho shouted from across the field. Do-hyun gently set Jun-woo on his feet. The human squad leader looked up at him with a mix of gratitude and shame. Tae-ho walked up to them, his face hard with anger. "Do-hyun, 20 push-ups now. We do not help each other during individual tests." "But Drill Sergeant," Do-hyun said, "is not the human marine saying leave no man behind?" "That is for combat, recruit. This is training. Each marine must prove their own strength." Do-hyun dropped to the ground and began his push-ups. He did them slowly, precisely. The human recruits watched in silence. When he finished, Do-hyun stood up and looked at Tae-ho. "With respect, Drill Sergeant, I do not understand. How does watching someone fail make the group stronger?" Tae-ho's eyes narrowed. For a moment it seemed he might punish Do-hyun again. Instead, he turned to address all the recruits. "Listen up. Marine training is not about being nice. It is not about helping the weak. It is about finding your breaking point and pushing past it. Each of you must find your own strength because in real combat, you might be alone. You might be the only one left. And in that moment, you cannot rely on anyone else." The recruits nodded. Most of them understood now. But Do-hyun still looked confused. Later that day, during lunch, Jun-woo sat alone. The other recruits had moved away from him. They did not want to be near the failing squad leader. Only Do-hyun joined him. "Why do you sit with me?" Jun-woo asked. "I am the weakest one here." "Physical strength is not everything," Do-hyun replied. "On my world, we value different kinds of strength." Jun-woo laughed without humor. "Well, on this world I am useless. I should quit." "Why did you join the Marines?" Jun-woo looked down at his food. "My father was a Marine, and his father before him. They were both strong men, heroes. I wanted to be like them." "But you are not like them," Do-hyun said. "Thanks for reminding me. You misunderstand. You are not them. You are you. Your strength will be different." Jun-woo looked up at the alien. "What strength? I can barely climb a wall." "You have mind. Strength. I have watched you. You solve problems quickly. You remember all the rules. You notice details others miss." "Those things don't matter here." "They should," Do-hyun said firmly. "In my military, we value all kinds of strength. The strongest fighter is not always the best leader." Before Jun-woo could respond, drill instructor Ji-won shouted for everyone to return to training. The afternoon brought swimming exercises. The recruits had to swim across a large pool in full uniform. The wet clothes made it much harder. Halfway across, one recruit began to panic. He splashed and gasped for air. The instructors watched closely, ready to help if truly needed, but letting the recruit struggle. Do-hyun saw this and began swimming toward the drowning human. "Stay in your lane, recruit," Tae-ho shouted from the side of the pool. Do-hyun stopped. He looked at the struggling recruit, then at Tae-ho. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly as he made a decision. He stayed in his lane. The drowning recruit managed to calm himself and slowly made it to the edge of the pool. The instructors pulled him out. After swimming came the mud crawl. The recruits had to crawl through thick, cold mud under low barbed wire. The mud stuck to their clothes and skin. It got in their eyes and mouths. Do-hyun struggled for the first time. The mud seemed to bother his blue skin. "Having trouble, alien?" One recruit called out. "The mighty warrior can't handle a little dirt?" laughed another. Junwoo, who was crawling nearby, moved closer to Do-hyun. "Ignore them," he said quietly. "Just focus on moving forward." Do-hyun nodded. "Thank you, squad leader." By the end of the day, every recruit was exhausted. They sat in the barracks cleaning their uniforms and equipment. Even Do-hyun moved more slowly than usual. "Today was only the beginning," Junwoo told the squad. "Tomorrow will be harder." "How do you know?" someone asked. "Because that is how they break us," Junwoo replied. "They push us until we think we cannot take any more. Then they push harder." Do-hyun was listening carefully. "Why break people you want to make stronger? This seems contradictory." "They break down our old selves," Junwoo explained, surprising everyone with his understanding. "Our civilian thinking, our weakness, our selfishness. Then they rebuild us as Marines, as a team." Late that night, after lights out, Junwoo found Do-hyun sitting on the floor beside his bed. "Are you okay?" Junwoo whispered. "I am processing today's lessons," Do-hyun replied softly. "My people would never train this way. We believe in protection, not breaking." "And how strong are your warriors because of that?" Do-hyun was quiet for a moment. "We have not faced real war in 300 years. Perhaps we have forgotten some important truths." Junwoo sat down next to the alien. "Why are you really here, Do-hyun? It can't just be for training methods." The alien's 4 eyes seemed to glow slightly in the dark room. "My people fear yours. Humans adapt, humans endure, humans never stop. We have watched your wars, your struggles, your pain, and we have seen how it makes you stronger. We do not understand this, but we must learn, or one day, we will be left behind." Junwoo nodded slowly. "Then we will learn together. You teach me your strength and I will teach you ours." In the darkness of the barracks, surrounded by sleeping recruits, a human and an alien made a pact that would change them both. 4 weeks into training, the weather turned bad. Dark clouds filled the sky. Rain poured down in heavy sheets. The wind blew cold and strong. 20-mile march today, recruits," Drill Sergeant Lee Tae-ho announced. "Full packs, full gear." The recruits groaned quietly. A 20-mile march was hard enough in good weather. In this storm, it would be misery. They put on their rain gear and shouldered their heavy packs. Each pack weighed about 60 pounds. They contained everything a Marine might need in the field: food, water, extra clothes, sleeping gear, and more. Do-hyun lifted his pack easily. His alien strength made the weight seem light. But as they stepped outside into the rain, Junwoo noticed something strange. Do-hyun's normally bright blue skin was turning a dull gray color. "Are you okay?" Junwoo asked, as they began marching. "I am functional," Do-hyun replied, but his voice sounded strained. "My species does not regulate body temperature well in wet conditions." Junwoo looked concerned. "Is it dangerous for you?" "Not life-threatening, but uncomfortable." As they marched through the rain, Do-hyun's condition grew worse. His skin became lighter gray. His movements, usually so smooth and precise, became stiff and jerky. Recruit Park Min-ho, who was marching nearby, moved closer to Do-hyun. Without saying anything, he shifted his position to block some of the wind. Do-hyun looked at him with surprise. "Thank you," he said quietly. Min-ho nodded but said nothing. Junwoo saw this and moved to Do-hyun's other side. Soon, The three of them were marching in a tight group. The human recruits used their bodies to shield the alien from the worst of the rain and wind. "Why are you helping me?" Do-hyun asked. "Because that is what Marines do," Junwoo answered simply. As they marched, other recruits began to notice Do-hyun's condition. One by one, they moved closer. Soon, the entire squad was marching in a tight formation around the alien. The drill instructors noticed this change, but said nothing. They watched with interest as the recruits solved the problem on their own. After several miles, the rain grew even heavier. Lightning flashed across the sky. Thunder boomed so loud it shook the ground. "We need to find shelter," someone shouted. "Keep marching," drill instructor Choi Han-sung ordered. "Marines do not stop for weather." Do-hyun was shivering now. His gray skin had patches of white. He stumbled as he walked. "He needs to warm up," Minho said to Junwoo. "The rain is hurting him." Junwoo looked ahead. They were passing through a forested area. Large trees lined the path. "Everyone huddle up under those trees," Junwoo ordered. 5-minute break. "I did not authorize a break," squad leader Kim Han-sung shouted. Junwoo stood straight and looked the drill instructor in the eye. "With respect, sir, we have a medical situation. Recruit Do-hyun requires temporary shelter." Han-sung looked at Do-hyun. The alien was clearly suffering. His tall blue body trembled and his 4 eyes blinked rapidly. After a moment, Han-sung nodded. 5 minutes. Not 1 second more. The squad moved under the trees. They formed a circle around Do-hyun, using their bodies to create a warm, dry space. "Why are you risking punishment for me?" Do-hyun asked, his voice weak. 4 weeks ago I would not have, Junwoo admitted. I would have been too afraid. But you were right about different kinds of strength. This is mine, taking care of my squad. Do-hyun's 4 eyes focused on Junwoo. "My people would be impressed by you, squad leader Kim." Soon, the 5 minutes were up. The recruits returned to the march. The rain continued, but the brief rest had helped Do-hyun. His skin was returning to its normal blue color. As they marched, Do-hyun spoke to Junwoo. "I have been thinking about what makes humans different from my people." "And what have you found?" Junwoo asked. "You embrace discomfort. On my world, we avoid it. We use technology to make life easy. We never feel too hot, too cold, too tired, or too hungry." "That sounds nice," Minho said from nearby. "It is comfortable," Do-hyun agreed. "But comfort does not build strength. Look at how you are now. 4 weeks ago, this march would have broken you. Now you endure it and still have energy to help others." The recruits considered this as they marched through the storm. The rain soaked their clothes, the mud pulled at their boots. Their packs felt heavier with each step. But they kept moving forward. By midday, they reached a river. The recent rains had made it swift and dangerous. A narrow bridge crossed it, but the wood looked old and slippery. One at a time across the bridge, Drill Sergeant Tae-ho ordered, "Keep your distance from each other." The recruits began crossing carefully. The bridge creaked under their weight. The rain made the wood slick and treacherous. Halfway across, recruit Song Jin-ho slipped. His foot went through a rotten board, and he fell hard. His leg was trapped in the broken bridge. He cried out in pain. Without hesitation, Do-hyun rushed onto the bridge. He reached Jin-ho before anyone else could move. "Do not move," Do-hyun told the injured recruit. "I will free you." With careful movements, Do-hyun lifted the broken boards. Jin-ho pulled his leg free. It was bleeding but not badly broken. "Can you walk?" Do-hyun asked. Jin-ho tried to stand but winced in pain. "I think so, but it hurts. I will help you." Do-hyun supported Jin-ho as they slowly made their way across the bridge. The other recruits watched in silence. Even the drill instructors said nothing. When they reached the other side, drill instructor Park Ji-won examined Jin-ho's leg. "It is just a bad cut and bruise. Clean it and wrap it. You will continue the march." "Yes, sir," Jin-ho replied, though his face showed his pain. As they prepared to continue, Jin-ho turned to Do-hyun. Thank you for helping me. Do Hyun nodded. You would do the same for me. A few weeks ago, I would not have, Jinho admitted. I did not trust you because you were different. I was wrong. The march continued through the afternoon. The rain finally stopped, but the ground remained muddy and difficult. Everyone was tired now, even Do Hyun. Jinho limped along, refusing help despite his injury. As the sun began to set, they finally reached their destination, a camp area with small wooden shelters. The recruits dropped their packs with relief. Set up camp and prepare your meals, Taeho ordered. Tomorrow we march back. The shelters were small, meant for 4 people each. There were enough for everyone, but the recruits had to decide how to divide themselves up. Without discussion, Junwoo, Minho, Jinho, and 3 other recruits joined Do-hyun in the largest shelter. They sat together as they ate their simple meals of field rations. Why did you all choose to share with me? Do-hyun asked. My body temperature is still lower than normal. I will make the shelter colder. Junwoo smiled. Because we are not just a squad anymore. We are friends. Do-hyun looked at each of the humans. Friends, he repeated, as if testing the word. My people do not form bonds easily with other species. We find it difficult to understand those who are different from us. Humans are the same, Minho said. We fear what we do not understand. But when we work together, we learn to see past the differences. That night, as the recruits slept, Do-hyun remained awake. He looked at the humans around him. 4 weeks ago, they had been strangers, suspicious of his alien nature. Now they accepted him as one of their own. He thought about his mission. He had been sent to learn about human strength, to understand what made these soft, fragile beings so resilient. He was beginning to see the answer. It was not their bodies that made humans strong. It was their hearts. Their willingness to endure hardship. Their ability to form bonds even with those who were different. Their choice to help others even when it brought them pain. As the strongest warrior of his people, Do-hyun had never lost a battle. But he had never faced the kind of challenges these humans endured every day. He had never had to find strength in weakness or courage in fear. He was learning more than combat techniques or training methods. He was learning what it meant to be truly strong. Outside the shelter, the stars appeared as the clouds cleared away. Somewhere up there was Do-hyun's homeworld. He wondered if his people would understand what he was discovering here on Earth. He wondered if he would ever be the same again. Week 8 of training brought the most difficult challenge yet, the Crucible. This was a 54-hour test of everything the recruits had learned. They would have almost no sleep, very little food, and many hard tasks to complete. The Crucible separates real Marines from everyone else. Drill Sergeant Lee Tae-ho explained. Some of you will not pass. Those who do will earn the title of Marine. The recruits stood in formation, ready with their full gear. After 8 weeks of training, they looked different than when they started. They were stronger, leaner. Their faces showed determination instead of fear. Even Junwoo had changed. He was still smaller than the others, but he stood tall and confident. As squad leader, he had earned the respect of everyone, including the drill instructors. Do-hyun had changed too. His movements were less perfect, more natural. He had learned to adapt to human ways. He no longer looked like an alien trying to be human. He looked like a warrior who had found his true battle. Move, out, Tae-ho ordered, and the Crucible began. The first challenge was a night march through difficult terrain. The recruits had to navigate using only maps and compasses. No lights were allowed. Stay close, Junwoo told his squad. Follow my lead. They moved through the darkness, helping each other over fallen trees and around mud pits. Do-hyun used his better night vision to spot dangers ahead, quietly warning the others. After 4 hours of marching, they reached their first objective, a simulated enemy camp. They had to crawl through the mud to avoid being seen, then retrieve a package from the center of the camp. I will get it, Do-hyun offered. I can move faster and quieter than humans. No, Junwoo said firmly. We do this together. That is the Marine way. Do-hyun nodded, understanding now why humans valued teamwork so highly. The squad crawled through the mud, moving inch by inch. Guards with flashlights walked around the camp. If a light touched any recruit, they would fail the mission. When they reached the center, Junwoo grabbed the package. But as they began to retreat, his foot slipped. He fell with a small sound. A guard turned toward them. Who's there? The squad froze. The guard's flashlight moved closer to where Junwoo lay, exposed. Just before the light reached him, Do-hyun moved. He rolled to a different spot, deliberately making noise. The guard turned toward the sound. Got you. The light hit Do-hyun, who had positioned himself far from the rest of the squad. Recruit Do-hyun. Drill instructor Choi Han-sung's voice called, out. You have been captured. Report to base camp for your penalty. As Do-hyun was led away, he glanced back at Junwoo. The human squad leader nodded in silent thanks. Do-hyun had sacrificed himself so the mission could succeed. The penalty was harsh. Do-hyun had to stand in the rain for 2 hours, then dig a 6-foot hole and fill it back in. By the time he finished, the rest of the squad had completed 2 more missions. When Do-hyun finally rejoined them, Junwoo pulled him aside. You should not have done that. Now you have black marks on your record. The mission was more important than my record, Do-hyun replied. That is what Marines believe, yes? The team before the individual. Junwoo could not argue with that. The second day of the Crucible brought even harder challenges. The recruits had slept for only 2 hours. They had eaten only 1 small meal. Everyone was tired and hungry. One challenge required them to cross a wide, muddy field while carrying heavy boxes. The boxes had to be passed from recruit to recruit without touching the ground. Halfway across, Junwoo stumbled. His ankle twisted. With a sharp crack, he fell to his knees, dropping his box. Junwoo is hurt, Minho said, moving to help him. Leave him, Drill Sergeant Taeho ordered. Complete the mission first. That is the priority. The squad looked at each other, uncertain. The mission was important, but so was their squad leader. Do-hyun made the decision. He picked up Junwoo's box, carrying 2 now instead of 1. Continue the mission, he told the others. I will manage these. The squad moved forward, leaving Junwoo behind. But as soon as they had delivered their boxes to the other side, Do-hyun ran back across the field. What are you doing, recruit? Taeho demanded. Retrieving injured personnel, Drill Sergeant, Do-hyun replied. He reached Junwoo and helped him stand. Can you walk? Junwoo tried to put weight on his foot but winced in pain. I think it is broken. Without hesitation, Do-hyun lifted Junwoo onto his shoulders. Then I will carry you. Put him down, Taeho ordered. He needs to make it on his own or fail. Do-hyun stopped, looking at the drill sergeant. With respect, Drill Sergeant. In real combat, would you leave an injured Marine behind? Taeho's face showed surprise, then something like respect. 30 push-ups, both of you. Then redistribute that weight more evenly among the squad. That's how Marines solve problems. Do-hyun helped Junwoo to the ground, then did his push-ups. Even with his injured ankle, Junwoo did his share too. When they finished, the entire squad gathered around. They worked together to create a simple stretcher using their belts and jackets. 4 recruits carried Junwoo while the others took their gear. Good solution, Taeho said quietly, watching them work together. The final day of the Crucible brought the hardest test, a 15-mile march back to base followed by a climb up a steep hill known as the Warrior's Peak. Junwoo's ankle was badly swollen. The medic had wrapped it tightly but said he should not walk on it. I will not quit, Junwoo insisted, not this close to the end. The squad looked at their injured leader. Then Minho spoke up. We will take turns carrying him, and so they did. Each recruit took a turn supporting Junwoo. Even the smallest members of the squad did their part. When someone got tired, another stepped in. The march was long and painful. Everyone was exhausted. They had been pushed to their limits and beyond, but they kept moving forward 1 step at a time. Do-hyun watched his human squadmates with growing respect. They were so fragile compared to his species. Their bodies broke easily. They needed more food, more sleep, more of everything, yet they refused to give up. As they began the final climb up Warrior's Peak, recruit Song Jin-ho collapsed from exhaustion. He had been one of the strongest in the squad, but 3 days with little food or rest had drained him completely. "I cannot go on," Jin-ho gasped. "Leave me. Finish without me. No one gets left behind," Junwoo said firmly from his position on Minho's back. "That is our way now." Do-hyun knelt beside Jin-ho. "You carried others when they needed help. Now it is your turn to be carried." The alien lifted Jin-ho as if he weighed nothing. Another recruit took Junwoo from Minho, who was stumbling with fatigue. "We go together," Do-hyun said. "All of us." They climbed slowly, helping each other over the rough ground. When one person slipped, others caught them. When someone needed water, others shared theirs. They moved not as individuals, but as a single unit. At the top of Warrior's Peak stood all 3 drill instructors. They watched in silence as the battered, exhausted squad made their final approach. The recruits lined up, standing at attention despite their injuries and exhaustion. Junwoo insisted on standing on his own for this final moment, though he could barely put weight on his injured ankle. Do-hyun stood beside him, supporting him subtly so the drill instructors would not notice. Platoon 4017. Drill Sergeant Lee, Taeho said, his voice unusually soft. "You have completed the crucible." The recruits remained at attention, but their faces showed pride and relief. "Tomorrow, you will receive the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. You will become United States Marines." As the sun set behind them, casting long shadows across Warrior's Peak, Do-hyun looked at the humans standing beside him. 8 weeks ago, they had been strangers from a strange world. Now they were his brothers and sisters in battle. He had come to Earth to learn about human strength. He had found it not in their bodies, but in their spirit. Not in fighting alone, but in fighting together. Theo, strongest warrior of the Novan people, had finally understood the true meaning of strength. The graduation ceremony took place on a clear, sunny morning. Rows of wooden chairs were set up on the parade ground. Important people sat in the front row, including military officers with many medals and 3 tall blue aliens with formal markings on their skin. The recruits stood in perfect formation, wearing their dress uniforms. After 13 weeks of hard training, they looked completely different from when they arrived. Their bodies were strong. Their faces showed confidence. Their eyes held the quiet pride of those who had overcome great challenges. Do-hyun stood among them, his blue skin contrasting with the dark uniform. Unlike when he arrived, he no longer looked perfect. His uniform showed small signs of hard use, just like those of the human recruits. A tiny repair on one sleeve, a slight discoloration that would not quite wash out. These were not flaws, but badges of honor showing the journey he had taken. Drill Sergeant Lee Tae-ho stepped forward to address the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests," he began, his voice strong and clear. 13 weeks ago, these young men and women arrived as civilians. Today, they leave as United States Marines. The crowd applauded. The 3 aliens in the front row watched with their 4 eyes blinking in sequence, their version of nodding. 13 weeks ago, Taeho continued, looking at the alien guests. "You sent us your strongest warrior." He turned to look at Do-hyun. "Today we return to you a United States Marine." A hush fell over the crowd. Everyone knew this was a historic moment. The first alien to complete Marine training. A bridge between 2 species. One by one, the new Marines were called forward to receive their Eagle, Globe, and Anchor emblems. This small metal symbol was the physical representation of their achievement. But it meant much more than that. It meant they had been accepted into a brotherhood of warriors that stretched back hundreds of years. Private Kim Junwoo, Tae-ho, called Junwoo, stepped forward. His ankle was still wrapped, but he walked without limping. The small, skinny recruit who had once been afraid of his own shadow now moved with quiet confidence. Tae-ho placed the emblem in his hand. "Congratulations, Marine." "Thank you, Drill Sergeant," Junwoo replied, his voice steady. More names were called. Each new Marine received their emblem with pride. Private Quan Do-hyun, Taeho finally called. Do-hyun stepped forward and stood at perfect attention. Taeho looked up at the tall blue alien. Private Do-hyun, he said formally. First Novan to complete United States Marine Corps basic training. He placed the emblem in Do-hyun's hand. The metal looked small against the alien's blue skin. Thank you, Drill Sergeant, Do-hyun said. Those watching closely noticed something unusual. Do-hyun's 4 eyes were blinking rapidly in a pattern they had never seen before. Later, humans would learn this was the Novan equivalent of tears. After the ceremony, the alien delegation approached Do-hyun. The tallest of them, wearing elaborate markings that indicated high rank, spoke first. Combat Champion Do-hyun, he said in the musical Novan language. You have succeeded in your mission. Do-hyun replied in the same language, but his speech patterns had changed subtly. They now had some of the direct, simple quality of human, marine talk. The mission was difficult, he said, but worth the effort. What have you learned from these humans that we must know? Asked another Novan official. Do-hyun looked back at his squad. Junwoo, Minho, Jinho, and the others stood in a group nearby. They were talking and laughing, their formal bearing relaxed now that the ceremony was over. I have learned that true strength does not come from physical power, Do-hyun said. It comes from something humans call the will to continue, the refusal to surrender, the choice to endure pain for something greater than oneself. The Novan officials listened with all 4 eyes focused on him. I have learned that the strongest unit is not the one with the strongest individuals, Do-hyun continued. It is the one with the strongest bonds between those individuals. These are useful tactical insights, the lead Novan said. We will incorporate them into our training. No, Do-hyun said firmly, surprising the officials. You misunderstand. These are not techniques that can be taught in a training program. They must be lived. They must be earned through shared hardship. The officials looked confused. One of them gestured to the human Marines nearby. These humans are physically inferior to our warriors, he said. They are smaller, weaker. Their skin tears easily. Their bones break. They require constant sustenance and rest. Yes, Do-hyun agreed. And yet they continue. They adapt. They overcome. Not despite these weaknesses, but because of them. Explain, the lead official demanded. Our people have engineered away our discomfort, Do-hyun said. We have forgotten how to struggle. These humans embrace struggle. They use it to become stronger. The Novan officials discussed this among themselves. Their language was too quick and complex for any human to follow, but Do-hyun understood. They were debating the implications of his report. Finally, the lead official turned back to him. You will return with us to share your insights with the council. With respect, Do-hyun replied. I have requested permission to continue serving. Alongside humans, my superiors and theirs have approved a joint service program. This announcement clearly surprised the officials. You wish to remain here, among aliens? They are not aliens to me now, Do-hyun said simply. They are my squad. As the Novan officials continued their discussion, Junwoo approached Do-hyun. Everything okay? He asked, looking at the alien officials with curiosity. Yes, Do-hyun replied in English. I was informing them of my decision to continue in joint service. Junwoo's eyes widened. You're staying? I thought you'd be heading back to your planet. I have requested assignment to Camp Pendleton, Do-hyun said. The same as you. You're kidding, Junwoo said with a grin. I do not kid about such matters, Do-hyun replied, then paused. That was an attempt at humor. I am still learning. Junwoo laughed and placed a hand on the alien's shoulder. You'll fit right in. Later, as the new Marines prepared to board the buses that would take them to their next assignments, Drill Sergeant Lee Tae-ho watched them say goodbye to each other. Some would go to different bases, some would never see each other again. But the bond they had formed would remain. What do you think, Sergeant? Asked Captain Park, who had overseen the experimental program. Tae-ho considered the question. I think, sir, that we just gained the most important ally in the galaxy. Because we showed them our strength? Captain Park asked. No, sir. Taeho replied. Because we showed them our humanity. Do-hyun boarded the bus that would take him and several of his squad mates to Camp Pendleton. As he took his seat, he thought about the journey he had made. He had come to Earth as an observer, a foreign entity, studying humans from the outside. He had expected to learn their techniques, their methods, their tactical approaches. Instead, he had become one of them. The bus pulled away from Paris Island, the training base that had been his home for 13 weeks. Do-hyun looked out the window at the passing landscape. Earth was so different from his homeworld. More chaotic, more varied, more challenging, just like its people. Minho, sitting beside him, noticed his thoughtful expression. Thinking about home? No, Do-hyun replied. Thinking about the future? Nervous about real Marine duty? Jinho asked from the seat behind them. Novans do not feel nervous, Do-hyun said seriously. Then his mouth curved in a small smile, a very human expression he had learned. But if we did, then yes, I would be nervous. His squad mates laughed. They no longer saw him as an alien. They saw him as a fellow Marine. That evening, as the sun set over the California coast, Do-hyun stood on the beach at Camp Pendleton. He could see the stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Somewhere up there was his homeworld. It seemed very far away now. Junwoo joined him on the beach. See that bright blue one? He asked, pointing to a star. Is that your sun? No, Do-hyun replied. My system is not visible from Earth, but it does not matter. My place is here now. With the Marines? With my squad, Do-hyun corrected. With my friends. As they stood together watching the stars, Do-hyun knew he had found something his people had forgotten. Not just the will to endure hardship or the bonds formed through shared struggle, but something deeper and more important. He had found a home among those who were different from him. He had found strength in vulnerability. He had found that the greatest warriors were not those who never fell, but those who always got back up. He had come to learn what made humans strong. He would stay to show them what that strength could build.